Thank you. You guys are obviously all here today for the same reason that I am, which is we are really, really, really curious about how Double and Claude work together. And we have an incredibly special set of guests today. We have our very own Hope Brown, one of the founding members of Ask a CPA. Say hello, Hope.
Hello, everybody. So happy to be here.
And we also have with us Chad and Maddie from Double. You guys come off mute and say hi to everybody.
Hey all.
Hi, guys.
Good to see some familiar names and faces in here. Thanks again for having us back, Nancy, and Hope letting us participate in your presentation today.
Absolutely.
Yes, thank you guys. We're super excited.
I mean, it is a beautiful thing when two of my favorite people from my favorite vendor show up at an Ask a CPA event. This is just wonderful. It made me so happy. And just to clarify, these folks, like the way that this whole thing came to be, what happened was that I got a text from Hope a few weeks ago, and she was like, "Hey, Nance, I got some stuff going on that is super, super cool. I would really love to run it past you because, like, I'm not even, is it as cool as I think it is? I want to know." And I was like, wow, it sounds like it's really cool. And wow, I didn't even know that was a thing. I mean, I know what an MCP is, and I know, conceptually what it could do, but I've never tried it. And so what's the deal? And I said, hey, can Melissa come on? And she's like, yeah, sure. And so we jumped on a Zoom and she blew our freaking minds. And I immediately reached out to Maddie and was like, Maddie, Double needs to come to a session at Ask a CPA because Hope is going to enlighten us all. And she was like, that sounds great. Can Chad come too? Chad is legitimately my very favorite salesperson in the entire world. So I was like, okay, you can bring Chad. And so here we are. And so I am going to, just for a second, I'm going to go over for the recording. I'm going to go to the gallery view so that in our recording, we're showing how dang many people are here, not just note takers, but so many people. This is something that everybody is so excited about, you guys. So with that, I am going to say I will be monitoring chat. I will be Hope's assistant for today. And if you have any questions along the way, please put them in chat. I will be monitoring it and I will interrupt Hope. Well, you guys know me. I'm going to interrupt Hope anyway because I'm just so excited and enthusiastic and I'm an interrupter. But it's not like a rude thing. It's because I'm so excited. Also, Chad is going to be answering any questions in chat or live at times, depending that are more specifically about Double and the features and the pricing and all of the changes that they've been making over there. So you've got me, you got Chad, and Veronica's monitoring people coming in and out and muting. And so I think with that, it's time to say, take it away, Hope. Thank you so much for being here and sharing your genius with us. Woo! Give her some love, y'all.
Hey, everybody. So thanks for having me, Nancy, first of all. If anyone on the line, I know a lot of familiar names are popping up, but I'm Hope Brown. I am owner of Brown Business Solutions and known as a Tax Minded Bookkeeper. But as Nancy shared the story, contacting her related to Claude and Double, we've been doing some really cool things in the firm that I wanted to share with her and now with you guys to help you run your firm more efficiently. Like, technology is here. Let's use it. So I am going to share my screen real quick. I talk about technology. Hopefully I won't be challenged here.
We're all challenged with technology. It never works the same way twice, it feels like.
Yes. All right, guys. So I have a lot of screens here because we're going to be showing a lot of stuff today. So, but all right, let me go into my little presentation here. And if you guys can see it, I just want to make sure.
Okay. Thumbs up. It says Claude plus Double really big on the screen.
Yeah. So using AI to run your bookkeeping firm smarter. All right. Because we run a really tight ship at the Tax Minded Bookkeeper. It's me and 4 other bookkeepers, and I have an operations person. But we're doing a lot. It's a lot of moving parts. If I can use technology to make my job easier as a firm owner, like, I'm going to use it. And I'm going to show you some ways today to do the same. All right. So we want to talk about Double and Claude and being able to use it together. But before I dive into there, one thing that I wanted to touch on is an MCP, and that's what's making it possible for us. Now, a couple of weeks ago, I don't know if anybody else got the email, but right after the tax season, I got the email about Double releasing their MCP connector. Maybe it had been about a week before, but trying to get my brains unscrambled from the tax season. I was, but
Me
just
too. Oh, girl, I'm with you. I'm with you.
yes,
Anything that comes in basically from 2 weeks before the end of tax season to 2 weeks after the end of tax season, I probably missed it.
yeah. So when I saw that email and I was able to get back to it about Double MCP, which stands for Model Context Protocol, think of it as a connector between like different applications and actually an AI tool like Claude or ChatGPT. All right. So when I saw that and like the juices started flowing, I was like, wait a minute. I could actually have we already use Claude a lot in the firm, but I can actually have a conversation in Claude and pull information from Double, which I was kind of doing anyway, but I was exporting, I was looking at the interface for the views and stuff like that.
And I'm
Um,
going to interrupt for a second and ask
okay,
everybody if there's anybody out there who has already used any MCP for
yes,
any tool. Can you drop it in chat? Because I would love to get a sense of, or actually just say yes or no. Yes, you've used an MCP
yeah,
in any two applications, or no, you haven't, just to get the sense of, how experienced people are with this.
yeah. I
Okay.
mean, I mean, and I'll go on the record of saying this now. As we're looking at tech tools in our firm, if it doesn't have some type of MCP connector or connectivity thing going on, or it's in the very like soon to be horizon, I can't do it. Like I'm
Really?
spoiled. Yeah, it's
You're
that
so spoiled by MCP
being able
productivity
to.
at this point.
I am. Like, I
Okay.
know the difference now. So again, without an MCP, Claude, you can use that to be able to do certain commands and things like that. You can even go directly to Double and get the information that we're going to be talking about today. But with that MCP, like it's actually pulling real-time data that we can take action on from Double, from other tools, etc., using like my voice talking to Claude or talking to
Mhm,
ChatGPT. And
mhm.
I love that, but we're in control.
So it
So
looks like the responses here are about a third of your audience has tried an MCP
okay,
in some way, shape, or form, and 2/3 of the
okay.
audience have not yet.
Yeah, okay. You're going to be in for such a good surprise today when you see the stuff for the ones who haven't. And I'm looking forward to going back to check the chat to see what other tools people are using. Like, please put in the chat Double. I know I'm using some for Anchor. I'm using some for some of the other tools we do. So definitely please share. All right. So I don't want you to be intimidated though. I know a lot of people on the line are may have not been like super technical, so when we talk about MCP, we do have to do a one-time connection between Double, the connector information that they provide for us, and also like your tool of choice, whether it's Claude or ChatGPT. But it is so simple. All right. Now I'm going to go through just real quickly how we need to do it in Claude, but I'm also in our handout that we'll be given the link to at the end, and also here I think the best thing to do is actually go to Double directly. I have the help article that I use to get everything set up with the connector, but it was really as simple as going into Claude. I did have to download the desktop app version. I basically did my connector here, going to settings, connections, connectors, and just adding in my custom connector. There was some information here that I had to put in as the remote MCP server and for a Double. But once I had that, I was connected. It literally took me like less than 5 minutes to do. So you can do this. So please don't let the reason why you're not like experiencing all of this wonderfulness is because like I'm got a little nervous about getting connected or whatever. It is such a breeze. So just keep that in mind as we're going forward. All right. So I'm going to go to the next slide. All right. So what I did though, so once I got in there, I was telling Nancy and she told me I was crazy. But we always take like breaks after the tax season. So I'm sitting in the beach in Fort Lauderdale, and I figured out that Double has this MCP connector. And I think I used like the next 2 or 3 days on vacation to play with all of these different scenarios using Claude to double to pull information. All right. Now, I don't know how you guys run your firm, but normally there's a cadence. Like in week 1 of the month, we're doing certain things. Week 2, week 3, week 4. I actually spent that 3 days like breaking down like all these different prompts that I can use throughout the month to manage my team, manage the workflow, just get statuses of where people are. So I'm giving you guys just a sprinkle today of what some of those use cases were that we came up with. And this is the first one. All right. So it's as simple as team visibility. We started using Double back in January. And I'm gonna be honest, going to the task and the status bars and things like that in Double, it was starting to get a little crazy for me as we were getting more clients in there. But I wanted to be able to find a more English like simple way of finding out like who is doing what. All right. So enter in Double for team visibility. I was able to go to to Claude and send to Double through the MCP connector like a normal command. So for example, I'm going to duplicate this now. I'm going to go to the Double screen, and I'm just going to put in like pull all the open task for Barbara. She's my statements person, my customer service person. Barbara can be a little slow sometimes, so I got to keep an eye on her. I really do. So pull all the open tasks for Barbara this week.
I love the real talk. Like we all have that person. They might be like the most wonderful person in the world, but you need to keep an eye on them.
Well, I know Barbara is my sister, so I really know Barbara. But Barbara's great. She knows I talk about her in these different things. So it's going out now, and it's actually going to pull open tasks for Barbara.
So this is live. You're just actually doing this in your Claude right now, and you just are asking it. Okay.
Yep. Now I could have easily gone to Double. The information is there, but I'm going here and I want to see what Barbara's list is. So I'm just automatically getting this. So I can see some of the clients that she needs to be able to pull some of the statements for. And this is next week. She has a really heavy volume because we're in the first week of the month. So that's normal for Barbara. I can see everything that's coming up for the clients. I could even get this to include, I believe, like dates and things like that. But so if I want to meet with Barbara later, I can either send this to her because I'm in Claude and I'm connected to different things. I can send this to her in our ClickUp channel, which is like Slack, to let her know what's coming up next week. I know myself what to keep an eye on. And this is just for one team member.
And this is, you just asked Claude. You were like, what's Barbara got coming up? That's it. That was your full prompt. That is amazing.
Yeah. So, and
then it summarized it there at the bottom, prep notes for you.
Yep. Yeah. So it's just basically just telling me like, heavy July 1st volume. This is the biggest single day because all you bookkeepers out there know after the 1st, the race starts, so that's why Barbara's list is so big. It's even picking up things that Barbara are signed to Barbara that should be canceled. Like this client had a CD that we pull the information for, but it matured last month. So it's even suggesting, hey, you should cancel that out. So reminders, it's telling me I got duplicate like Navy Federal Credit Union reminders for Barbara, for one thing. So you can see that like in 5 or 10 seconds, I was really able to get a really in-depth view of what Barbara's doing or what Barbara's.
Now you could have done this for yourself. You could have said, let's say you're solo, right? You could say, I'm feeling a little overwhelmed. And I'll be honest, I've said this, I've given this feedback to Chad and Maddie numerous times. I get overwhelmed by the GUI in Double. It's too much for me. It doesn't work the way my brain works. I do really well with words like this. This is just very clear to me. Yep. And so I could just be like, I'm feeling kind of overwhelmed. What are my tasks that I have to do today? Just tell me them, and it could totally do that.
And I'm doing that now. I'm going to be a little embarrassed
because this was not planned.
This is not planned. But you know what? This is kind of planned because, like I said, I have like certain queries that I run like at the beginning of the week and the end of the week. And then I have other queries that I run week 1 of the month, week 2, week 3, week 4. And they help me keep me on track. They help keep the team on track, all those things. So this is like my schedule, like everything that I know I need to do. DeSilva, gather paperwork for new health insurance coming in. NABO, download the Bank of Clark statement coming up. You know, by date, it's giving me all of these tasks. So for me, I don't know about you guys, but this is just an easier format for me to be able to consume this type of information in.
Yeah.
So, you know, take it if it works for you, but just know what the options are. Well, know what the potential is. That's what I would say.
And this is one where you really didn't have to do anything. You didn't prepare. You didn't like spend a ton of time working with Claude to be like, I want to see it in this format. And I want that. You just literally just asked it. You connected it and then you asked, and that's all.
That's it.
Oh my God. That is so amazing.
And I'll chime in here really quickly and just add to that. Like, this is one of the things that I'm loving about the new AI environment that we all find ourselves in. It's easier to use than UI that our team and other software providers have spent years on developing, because all users have to do is just chat with the model there and ask explicitly for what you want, and then continue iterating on that to make sure that the output is what you want. But it's a lot easier now to jump into something and begin chatting than it is to, like you said, open up Double and see, oh, we've got a lot of default tasks here. I'm a little bit overwhelmed.
Yeah.
Super easy.
Fantastic. Now I have a question about the pricing. So when we're talking about doing this with Double, I know Double has a lot of really exciting AI features itself. And then you've got, but this isn't using any of those. This is just regular. This is your normal, regular, however much you pay per month per client.
Correct.
And then you paying for your Claude subscription. It's just those two things. All right.
Yep, exactly.
Fantastic.
Yep. But even if you guys can walk away with the knowledge of what I just said about, okay, show me what Barbara's doing, show me what Mark's doing, show me what your people are assigned to do. You'll be in a better position than before this call, because I'm a real story here. I want to share just briefly. When I started using like the prompts to pull the information, by like the second week, my bookkeeper, one of the bookkeepers, a senior one, was like, what are you doing over there? Because I was just all up in their behinds with making sure that stuff was getting done. But it was all from being able to pull dynamically that information. You know, so, you know, just think about it. So that's like use case 1, finding out what an individual team person is doing, finding out what I need to do to prepare for the week, or just giving me a snapshot of what my team is working on right now. All right. So easy peasy stuff. All right. So I'm going to go to our next use case, right? Client communication. So we can also use the MCP to actually put notes in the document, or I'm sorry, put notes in the client file, or I can use it to actually draft, different things for my clients, for example. Let me see here. And I'm going to let me see here for a second. I know I have a test client here, and I'll show you, for example. I'm going to go here and just say, post a message for the team to this client about one of the client's kids being sick. So we can, give her some slack this week on getting us what we need. And another thing I want to just kind of point out, you always want to, so there are different places in Double that I've been able to find out from trial and error that I can post these messages, right? I normally like to post, in this case, to the main client section, and I'll show you what that looks like. But we also can post to the client info, which is, and forgive me, Double people, if I'm getting this wrong, but like the actual the customized fields that you can set up for a client. But I just want, in this case, to put to the main client. So sometimes it's good to actually learn specifically where to tell it to post. So I am going to say that post to main client section, and I'm gonna just let it go. And this actually happened like about a month ago. I had a client, we had been going back and forth with trying to get documents. And then she just reached out to me directly and said, hey, a kid is sick. So I put it on her main client information tab so that the team could see her and basically just get off her back. Because my people, when they're on you, they're like little pit bulls sometimes. We're trying to get these documents. So I wanted them to give them, I wanted them to give her a break. So
I'm going to interrupt for a second. Jill Shallot is asking which version of Claude you're using. Is this Teams?
no, it's
No.
not.
This is your like regular personal.
This is
All right.
my personal one. I'm on the paid version.
Yes. And
Yep.
I'll make that abundantly clear. I've mentioned it a few times in chat, but I want to mention it again. You have to be on a paid version in order for your data to be safe. And that is true for any of the AI. If you're on, Twyla Verhelst says it best from Carbon. She says, if you are using a free version of any software, then you are the product. It's true. It's true. So keep that in mind. You must be using a paid version in order for there to be data security. On the Double side of things, they don't use any of this for training AI. So they're secure. But as far as whatever you're using, Claude or ChatGPT or Cowork or Gemini or whatever, you got to be on a paid version in order for the data to be secure. But it turns out you can be on Teams or you can be on a personal version as long as it's paid. Great. Good to know. Thanks. Good question, Jill, and keep going, Hope.
I'll keep on going. So I just did the post. It asked me a couple of questions because keep in mind, it's almost like you're having a conversation with Claude. So I like that personally. I feel like I'm talking to an assistant or someone who is working for me or whatever, and I can be as specific as I need to be to give it clear directions. Now, one thing I also want to point out is with the MCP connector commands and things, I don't know if that's the right terminology, but it comes by default with all these different actions that we can take. Maybe it can read certain data, maybe it can update certain data. I think until you feel comfortable with it, I would probably leave the permissions on ask for certain things, like write or read or whatever. And that just means it's going to prompt you before it actually writes something or updates it or sends a message to your client. And you'll see.
And also, this is a thing between Claude and ChatGPT. Claude tends to ask questions before acting, whereas ChatGPT tends to just be really aggressive about going in it. And so if you are using ChatGPT instead of Claude for this, you can do all of the same things, but you might want to store some rules in permanent memory. You just tell ChatGPT, please always ask, confirm with me before actually doing anything.
Mm-hmm. And so just that quick, it went in, once it got clear instructions, it went into the client info section and it actually was able to update this. One of our clients has a sick child this week. Please give her some slack. And actually, so it's taking your wording and it's actually, in my voice, being able to post something. To save time, I was playing with this yesterday. I was even able to come up with a command, like I wanted to send a non-transaction question to a client, and I was able to send a test one to the client as well too, all through Claude. So again, I could come in and send it, yes, but sometimes I just want to get my thoughts together. I'm getting lazier and lazier. I can't even believe it. Well, no, let me rephrase it. I'm working more efficiently. That's what I'm doing.
Thank you. I was about to correct you. I was just about to correct you. I'm glad you corrected yourself. You're moving more quickly from the negative self-talk to the positive self-talk. Great job. Yes, I love it.
Absolutely. So the second use case I just showed, it just in recap, I'm using this to send my team messages in the different client records. I'm using this to send my clients updates or questions in the portal. And I'm also using it to be able to go to the client info sections and put notes there for all of the team members to be able to see. So that's the second use case. Now, the last use case that I want to go into pretty quickly, this kind of saved our butts earlier this year. So at the end of April, we had a bookkeeper who handled a lot of clients for us, a lot of the more delicate clients, I'll say that, who just left. Okay. Basically, she left overnight. She gave me this resignation that says effective immediately. That is like the kiss of death if you own a firm and you're relying on someone to help you manage these clients' books. All right. But no fear. So this is a lesson that I learned early on, just in general, with using these tools. Double is just as it's only as good as the data that we keep in it. All right. And one of my colleagues gave me the best advice, like in December when I was thinking about going to Double. And that was, she was like, Hope, really be detailed, not just about the reoccurring close things, but if there are special tasks that are happening for a specific client, maybe it's a special loan process they have, it's a special like client update, whatever the thing is, make sure you have that information in Double as tasks. And I really did take that to heart. So, for all of our clients at this point, it's about 90% there. If there are any special things, which would be outside of the normal like categorization, reconciliation, close process, we have a task which has a couple of points. So I shared all that to say I was able to use the Claude to Double connector to basically say, hey, I had somebody leave. Would you be able to put together like a SOP or a handoff doc by just going to Double and pulling information? And we did have like one Google Doc with a couple of notes for each of the clients for the person who left had been managing. And it came back, and I'll share it on the screen, with this beautiful SOP document about this client, where it used all of that data that we had been putting into Double, about who had been managing it, what they were doing, the bank statements, the special little situations, the close processes, all of the stuff. It developed this in like 5 seconds. And
I'm
I was
about
able
to
do
start
this.
sobbing. This is so beautiful. It happened. No, it honestly, because I've already described
Okay.
Double as having saved our butt way before AI, like the AI features and the MCP and all of these connectors. But a couple years ago, we had somebody go through, one of our bookkeepers went through some personal stuff and just ghosted us. And it
Yeah,
it was seriously problematic, and it happened during tax season. So she was supposed to be, I know.
that's true.
Um, yeah, she was supposed to be doing first pass reviews on all of these clients, and it was just like, oh my gosh. But because we had created, the two-page checklist that we have for annual reviews, because we had created that internally, and we had that from the prior year, and we had Double, and we knew what she was doing on a monthly basis, we were able to make it through. But that was still super stressful. If I had the same exact thing happen today, which knock on wood will never happen again, but if I had that same thing happen today, that thing that took us, I mean, we would not have been able to do it if we hadn't been on Double at the time. But now
Yep.
we could actually do it in a matter of minutes rather than a matter of days.
Yeah. My team hated me in January because it was the beginning of the tax season and they did not want to switch to Double. Like, we brand spanking new in Double. And I pushed them and pushed them and pushed them because I just knew like that needed to be our source of truth, a
Man,
process.
you switched to Double in January?
Mm-hmm.
Hell,
Me,
woo!
but
Trial by fire.
it was all worth it. I was telling Maddie and Chad the other day that the main person who hates change, absolutely hates change, okay, came to me maybe like a month and a half ago. And she was like, oh, Hope, you know what? She said, moving to Double was such a great, decision. Like, I love it, like it's saving me time. And after I like pulled my, picked up my mouth off the floor, I was like, wow, so it's saving our butts. I mean, I definitely, but garbage in, garbage out. Definitely, you want to make sure that you're using it to describe your processes, links to them and things like that as much as you can. It's
Yeah.
so much more than just documenting closes. So,
And
but
I'm going to interrupt because there are a couple of things in chat that I wanted to
okay,
clarify. And one of them is there's a little conversation going on about security risks. And I had just said you have to be on a paid version. If you are
yes,
on the paid personal version, you also have to go into settings. Now, your client data is safe if you're on a paid version. But in terms of whether that data will be used to train AI, you actually have to go into settings and let me see. You
there
have to
is
opt out
that.
of using training data in your subscription settings. But the Ask Double feature, and I'll actually three different things. I'm going to clarify. I want to really, really, really be clear about this. So number one, if you are on a paid personal version of Claude or ChatGPT, and you do not, then your client data is safe, but it can be used to train AI. So you have to go opt out of that in your subscription settings. Number two, if you are on a team version, a business version of it, then you don't have to do that because it's under the commercial agreement, commercial terms. And then number three, the Ask Double feature, which we'll talk about a little bit later, is under the commercial terms as well. So for the two commercial terms, you don't have to change because they just won't use that data for training AI. But if you have a paid personal version, and remember, we're not talking about any of the free versions because your client data is not safe on any free version. But if you have a paid personal version, you do have to opt out of that. The end. I'll let you keep going.
Yeah, definitely. And we're about to actually go to the firm version because I'm just seeing the advantage of having not, like I'm doing a lot of the stuff, but ultimately I want to develop a firm where I'm not in operations all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to be able to give that power to certain people to be able to get work statuses and things like that, set up. So, it's a tool, but definitely you want to be using it responsibly is
Mm-hmm.
what I'm going to say. All right. And that was my use case number 3, but that was super simple. This was a similar prompt that I used here, like using double history for that client, plus my Google Doc notes, which I pointed, create a full handoff document. And it was able to do that.
Now, how
So mhm,
much did you have to go back and forth to tweak that, or is what it handed you was
was
pretty
minimal.
close to done?
It
Really?
was, yes, I want to say we were about 85% in the ballpark.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah. I was like, "Wow." I mean, and in some cases, it was almost like it was too specific. So instead of, like bookkeeper should, it was actually naming the roles from the person in double that it pulled and stuff, and I was like, "I want this to be more of a generic
More generic.
document."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so but I mean, I could've that's the beautiful thing about having, like, the Claude, the double connector, I mean, or any connector, right? You're talking to it until you can massage it into what you want it to pull.
Yeah.
So, you don't have to be stuck with the first version is what I wanna say.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Alright, so I put in here like what's known as like a starter prompt kit. So I'm going to make sure that this is available in the community. But it's just to give you an idea, like guys, things you could be using during the month. Week 1 of the month, give me a snapshot of what my team's working on. Pull all the current closed statuses for my active clients. Mid-month could be like more auditing tasks that are happening. Pull all open tasks for a specific person, maybe, or a specific client, and flag anything past due. Mid-month portal engagement could be show me clients who haven't engaged with the portal this cycle, you know. And then at the month end, summarize everything we're doing for maybe one particular client, not in the original agreement. And that was
Ooh.
I mean, Nancy, I think we covered that during our call. I don't talk
Yeah. You
much
remember I
today.
made that sound too, because I am the worst. One of the reasons that we're still on hourly billing for probably like 2/3 of our clients is that I am the worst about scope creep. Because somebody asked me, I don't say no to anyone. I want to help. Somebody asked me for something, the answer is yes. And I want to encourage my clients to make me the first person that they ask about something. And so when I have them on flat fee, this scope creep is real. It's real. So I really think that's super
Uh,
helpful.
I mean, and I showed you an example of the way we did it. So I basically showed the connector like, hey, this was the original contract agreement, PDF format. And then I let it go into Double and see all that crap we was doing for that client that was out of scope. And
Yeah.
it came back and developed its own little letter to say, hey, comparing like what you started off with, what you ended up with, your monthly reoccurring was once this, but starting August 1st is going to be that. And I did that for like 3 or 4 clients like that. But I do that. I normally wait until the end of the month to be doing those kind of things, to be checking for scope creep, because people are always getting loans. Well, you guys know, you
Oh
know
man.
like 20 new bank accounts, 50 new loans, and nobody
Yeah.
says anything. So I want to be able to know that for myself, because sometimes my team is not always coming back. They're just trying to get stuff done, or they're super nice, you know, and they don't realize like, okay, we just extended more work that you have to do for that client. I want to know about that stuff as I'm running my firm anyway. Even if I decide to let certain things slide, this prompt is helping me track that kind of stuff better. But again, and then we talked about the emergency handoff document as well too. But you can just see, like, just start thinking about things that you go to Double for anyway, or you go, one lady I met at Scaling New Heights, she didn't even know about the MCP connector. She said she was actually manually exporting all the data to run and find out different things like this.
I think that most people don't know about the MCP connector. We got everything just happened so fast. Like I consider myself an early adopter of AI because my
Yep.
husband's a software developer who's very, very interested in it. And
Yeah.
so here I was early on doing all sorts of stuff. And then all of a sudden, agents came along. And I was like, okay, I'm going to figure out how all this works before I set up something for my team. So we still don't have AI set up for our whole team because I was working on it. And then all of a sudden agents came out. And then all of a sudden MCPs came out. And now I'm
Yes.
like, oh my
Mhm.
God, I'm never going to catch up. Like I think it's overwhelming for so many of us. And you're just putting it into terms that make it just so much more manageable. Like, oh, just get a
I hope.
Teams version and
Yeah.
then do the MCP connection and
Mhm.
then pick one thing off of this list that you're
Yep.
going to start with.
Yeah, and I'm telling you, like, all of these, we have so many wonderful tools out here. I just want to see people like know about them, because it's really
Mhm.
going to help you. I mean, like, I sleep better at night because I can
Yes.
run these things, and in 5 seconds I can know if everything's on track, or maybe a couple of things are off track, and I can tell it to, hey, send through our Slack channel, which is ClickUp we use,
Mhm.
just an update for such and such, person, that they'll be on this, or I can tell it to send in Double and tag that person. Like, it really automates a lot of the reminders and
Yes.
communication and tracking for us. All
Yeah.
right.
And
So
one other thing that I'll just comment on there, Hope. Some of those prompts that you just shared, are you scheduling those to happen automatically, or are you running those manually right now?
no, some of them I'm scheduling. So like
Okay.
the ones that I want to do at the beginning of the week. But go ahead, Chad, talk about that, because I think that that is good information that I didn't find out about how to schedule them until I was at a conference about a month and a half ago, and talking to another firm owner. We were able to do that. I didn't want to get all into the technical part of that today, but definitely
Yeah.
find.
Talk to us for a
Yeah.
second about that, Chad.
Well, yeah, this is one of the things that I'm really excited around the AI landscape right now is like some of these week one questions that we may be asking ourselves in our own firms. Like if that's going to happen every month, you can schedule these in Claude to repeat at the frequency of your choosing. So you don't have to even go in there and hit the button anymore. You
Yep,
set it up once, and this information is being delivered to you at the frequency that you set. So
it's a
yeah,
great
no,
thing.
That's incredible.
yeah,
I
lots of
love it.
use cases here.
Yeah.
Mhm. And then I think I was just talking about just more connectors on the way. I mean, I'm not gonna like kick this dead horse to death, but I was just say like we're using also connectors with ClickUp, some of the other tools that we have. As I mentioned earlier, if it's gonna be a technical solution, I mean, if it's gonna be in our tech stack, at this point, the first question I'm asking is, do you have an MCP connector? Like
Right.
that is just going
Because
to
at
make.
this point, you don't even want to work with them if that's not an option. That is
I
fascinating.
can't. I can't. I just can't.
I
Because you're not
just,
going to save me time. I'm just a little firm owner. I need to automate or have stuff that, I mean, I need it. Like, I don't
mhm.
want to spend 10 hours anymore. I want to spend 10 minutes.
You've
Sorry.
seen what's possible.
Yes.
And so now you're like, okay, well then one thing I want to mention here, and Chad, I'll ask you to talk about it briefly. So the tax dome in your layout right here is
Mhm.
somebody had asked earlier I think it might have been Crystal, had asked about how canopy is different than, yeah, it was Crystal, how canopy is different than double. And I want to say, there are a lot of folks who, when they went to double initially, and I am on that list of folks, when I went to double initially, it was for managing the monthly work and the month end close. That was the only reason. And then I found out that they allowed us to request W-9s directly from vendors. And I was like, okay, those were the two things
Say
that
no
were
more.
really important. Yeah, that was just like, I would use it just for that, honestly. And there are people, Chad and I do a 1099 thing together every year, and there are people who use double and pay the monthly amount just to be able to get the 1099 feature that flags new
Mm.
vendors and allows us to request it. So those two things were really important to us. I was not using it and had no intention of using it as practice management software. And a lot of people still use it that way. So there are a lot of people who they just use Financial Sense, or they just use TaxDome, or they just use Canopy, or they just use Carbon, or whatever. Like they're using their practice management software, and double, they're using the features that are best in class features, the right tool for the right job, as Chad was saying in chat. There are other people, including myself, that were like, hey, this practice management feature of double is getting better and better and better. I'm going to let go of my old practice management software and go and use double for all of it. And so there's like a Venn diagram of a lot of these softwares out there. And Chad, I actually got in touch with Chad maybe a year ago or something, and I was like, can you give me examples, like use case scenarios of why somebody would pick this and this and this and this and this? And so, as you can see, Hope is using double, but she's also using TaxDome for
I'm
different
using
things.
TaxDome. We're using ClickUp. Like we came from ClickUp into Double, but like we don't use ClickUp anymore. I mean, I'm thinking about like phasing it out. If I can get a good, like if Double came up with something where there was like a live communication chat, I probably would get rid of ClickUp. Like
Yeah, but on the other hand, we want to make sure that Double's doing what it does best. And every like QuickBooks right now, I did my recertification yesterday, and I was like, QuickBooks is trying to get us using all of these things. They stole from Right Tool, they stole from Double, they stole from Financial Sense. Like they're taking from all of
yeah,
the best in classes out there, and they're trying to make it so that we never leave their their world. And there is so much good to be said of having everything in one space, whether that space is
yeah.
double or, wherever you end up having it be. But there's also a lot to be said for using best in class software. And it's a whole nother conversation. And it has a lot to do with personal preference.
And it completely changes how we are thinking about software in our firms now. Like the MCP allows you to have that connectivity
Yeah.
that you didn't have in the past. So as
Mhm.
firms like look for a one size fits all practice management software that's going to do everything, you don't have to do that anymore. So like what Nancy was saying, you pick the best tool for your recurring bookkeeping and accounting work. You pick the best tool for your tax work and the workflows there. Use the
Mhm.
right tool for the right job and connect them through AI in the MCP. Yeah, it's a really exciting world.
Yeah.
It is. It is. I mean, we like, for example, we use TaxDome exclusively on the tax side. That works for us. We're using Double exclusively on the bookkeeping side. That works for us. You
Yeah.
know, it could be different for other firms, but like Nancy said, like figure out what is going to be more, like go to work for you, be productive for you, be efficient for you, and
And we've
cost.
got people chiming in here. Like Sandy is saying that she's using that she prefers using financial sense for that piece of the puzzle. And we've got, she is, double for month-end review and 1099s, but she loves financial sense. Rebecca's saying they moved from ClickUp to Double, but they still use Slack for communications, for the live communication part. So there are a lot of different ways. And again, it's overwhelming, but it's a very personal decision.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. But that was the purpose of this slide. It's like open your mind to the possibilities.
Yeah.
We can integrate all of these different applications together and use them to create the tech stack that's really going to work most efficiently for us. All right.
Yeah.
So this is the time I want to turn it over to Chad. All right. Because I've talked a lot about, the direct Claude to Double integration, but I want to turn it over to Chad so we can talk about the conversation of some of the other AI capabilities, that he's talked about, or that he shared with me kind of offline, and I've just seen in general, because I want to learn about those too. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to you, Chad, if that's all right.
Wonderful. Well, thank you again, Hope, for sharing all that you've experimented with and done already with the MCP in your firm. We've talked a lot about like personal preference and flexibility, and that's what comes with AI. You can manage your work and get your information in the place that you prefer to get your information from. So whereas Hope used Claude to pull a lot of that information out of Double and summarize it there, you also have the ability to do that here within Double as well. So a lot of that same functionality and the questions that Hope was asking Claude, you can now do within Double. So can everyone see my screen that says 1801 brands on it?
Yep.
Perfect.
Looking good.
Something that we added a couple weeks ago is what we call Ask Double. And it is effectively that Claude or ChatGPT chat layer, but it sits on top of Double. So it has access to all of that information that you want about your client's financials, about the information that's saved in the notes, about the comments that were left by the team, about the tasks that are getting done. So when you ask a question about, what was profitability like in March 2024, we can get that answer here because Double is connected to that client's ledger information, and we can start to pull out like quick analysis and information that you may need to prep for a new client call. So whether that's querying information around a client's financials, or maybe it's something a little bit more operational, like asking, where is my team at with this? You're going to be able to ask those questions, and you're, again, just asking for what you want, just like Hope showed us earlier. One last example that I want to share of Ask Double that I'm pretty excited by is the ability to like create what we call skills and utilize those to go back to processes that you've defined. So I've created a skill that I call diagnostic review. So when I have a new client walk into my firm and I get access to their QBO file so I can scope out the engagement, I don't want to spend the 3 hours that it takes to dig through QBO and find everything that is a mess to know what I'm getting myself into. I can make that ask here in Double, and Double's going to flag all of those things that I'm going to want to know about before I propose on that engagement. So this is going to look through that ledger information, and it's going to, again, because we have that ledger information in like the connected chart of accounts, it's going to be able to flag a lot of those things that we are using today to scope out those engagements. And again, this is one example. So right here, it's telling me that we've got a lot of cleanup for 1801 brands for that scope that I specified. It's counting the number of transactions. It's telling me how many bank and credit card accounts we have in the chart of accounts, the chart of account size, so I can see like what's active versus what's not being used. And further down, it's calling out some other things that we want to be aware of before we propose on that engagement, whether it's like negative balances where there shouldn't be on the balance sheet, or stale AR and AP that we're going to have to figure out and clean up for them. And other danger account activity like uncategorized and ask the client, things that may sit in there. And so now I have this.
I want to interrupt for a second. There were a couple of questions about how is this is amazing. is it included in Double? Is this scale that you were talking about? Like
Yeah.
what, tell us
Yeah.
more about what it is that we're looking at and how to make it happen, how to get to it. Or is this still like in Claude with the MCP with the
So
so
this,
it's not the low cost version?
yeah, so this is what we call Ask Double, and it is in all of our subscriptions. So
Okay.
from the lowest plan being the core plan, all the way up to the scale plan, which includes some other AI tooling that we're going to quickly look at today. Um, so anyone that's on Double right now has the ability to play with this right now. It's simply up in the little the top right of your corner, those little stars, Ask Double, and then you've got the world at your fingertips.
Okay, great.
Um,
Sandy, I hope
so
that answers your question.
and speaking of
Well, did
scale, I
he,
want to. Oh, go ahead.
sorry, did he write that in there, all the parameters, or is that in there already?
So that was in there already, but if I were to like ask for that here again, like just in plain text, like flag things that I need to review before proposal. I can't type while everyone's watching.
I know it
But
makes people nervous. It's not just you, everybody's like that.
but at the end of this conversation that I have with chat, I can then say, save this as a skill. So that way I can come back to it in the future and start to do these things without having to prompt them and give them the specifics again.
Okay.
So yeah, a lot
So
of
basically,
flexibility
you're
there.
doing a lot of the same things that Hope was just showing us, but you're doing it inside Double. It's Claude working inside Double.
Exactly.
Okay,
Yep.
that's
And then
amazing.
one other thing that I'll call out, and I know we want to leave some time for questions. So last thing from my end that I'm super, super excited about, this is what we call AI transactions, and it's something that exists only in our double scale plan. So this is going to be the highest tier of ours. But with AI transactions, what it allows you and your team to do is upload source documents that you would typically use to record transactions back to the ledger. So in this example, I've got a mortgage statement, and what I can do here is just chat with the composer similar to like what we did earlier, and I can say, prepare the journal entry. And it's going to look at the chart of accounts that we have access to. It's going to look at the source document, and it's going to suggest that journal entry for me here that I can then post back to the ledger. So that's where we take what's available in the MCP and Claude to the next level. In scale, you're able to actually post transactions back to the ledger. Now, this was an easy one, but it could have been something more complex like a payroll summary or like a daily POS report that you're used to hard keying in.
So Chad, would you say it's fair to suggest that with the regular version of Double, you can use Ask Double inside it like your usual LLM that you would use
Yep.
externally, Chat or Claude or whatever. But Scale, which is the upgraded version, actually it makes it agentic. It makes it so that it can do things for you
I think that's really
inside
well put,
Claude
Nancy. Yeah,
or inside
exactly.
Double, I mean. Okay.
Yeah.
What's the pricing on the scale version? And by the way, I want to point out a few things I'm throwing into chat here, which is I put if you're not yet signed up for Double and you decide to sign up for Double, please use my affiliate link because it helps Ask a CPA stay affordable. It's very, very important to me that we never get above that $47 a month if we can avoid it. And one of the ways that we do that is affiliate income. Hope Starter Kit is in there as well. And that's got a lot of the stuff that she shared with us today. And then also there's this scale that Chad keeps talking about. Double's given us 14 days free on scale, which is this Double AI agentic upgrade for any client. And you're definitely going to want to try scale at least for free if you're curious about how any of this stuff could be different. So you get 14 days free, but tell us about the actual pricing after that.
Yeah, so the scale pricing is typically $50 per client. So you can mix and match across tiers. So if you've got some clients that are high complexity and could benefit from the scale features, you can enable it just for
So
them.
you don't have to upgrade everything. I can have,
No.
I've got my usual $10 a month.
Yep.
And then I can just pick the one client that's really complex that I want to do all of this stuff with and just pay the $50 for that one.
Exactly. Yep.
Ooh.
But before you make those decisions, again, you've got 14 days to play around with it and make sure that it delivers value for you. So anyone here in Double today, you'll just go to your all client settings. So the gear icon in the top right, all client settings, and then under client plan, you'll just upgrade them to the plan that you want.
And you get
So
14 days free for any client. You just pick the client you think you might need it for, and you get 14 days.
exactly. Yep. And you can use that for multiple clients as well. So you get 14 days technically with each client if you wanted.
So I could try it on my 5 clients that I think I might want to, and then I get through my 14 days and I go, well, it turned out not to be worth it for these 3, but it's totally worth it for those 2. And then I just upgrade those 2.
Yep, exactly.
Okay, that's fantastic. Rebecca is asking, are there skills built into Ask Double, or do we need to query them ourselves? I understand there are token limits. Can you share if and what the limits are per subscription level?
Yeah, good question. So on the skills built into Double, we have included a few defaults there that you'll see when you first hit the 3 stars. So those will be little button options there for you to choose from. And then for anything else that you want to do, again, it's having that conversation with the chat. Once you get the output that you're looking for, you can say, save this as a skill, and then you'll have the option to continue using that moving forward in any other situations where that would be appropriate.
Fantastic. And it looks like you just shared in chat a link to a Loom walkthrough.
Yes. So I showed us one example of the AI transactions, but I had nerded out on some other use cases that I was pretty excited about. So I just wanted to share that Loom video where I walked through those in case y'all wanted to see some of the more advanced things that I was playing with.
Oh, that's the one that you had sent me before.
Yeah.
Yes, I love this. Is actually, everybody should watch it. It is not long and it is really fabulous. And if you're like curious about how could I use this in my practice, because I personally have a really rough time imagining. People are always like, what are your pain points? You can use AI to solve them. And I'm like, I don't know. They don't feel like pain points because we have found ways through the years to work through them. So they're not pain points that we're solving for necessarily. They're just more efficient, better ways to provide more with less work, like Hope was saying. And so that video, the AI transactions one, actually was really, really helpful for me. So we will make sure that that link gets included with the recording, and Hope, there are a lot of requests for your slides, especially that slide with the use cases. So we'll make sure that those slides go out with the recording. If you have a link to them that you want to drop in chat before we leave today, that would be fantastic. Sandy is asking Chad if she has a new client that she has to review first, she can add the client, and on a month by month basic, it just popped out of the way. And on a month by month basic upgrade to scale and downgrade when I don't need it anymore.
Yeah, so you are able to move between tiers as you like. You'll obviously be prorated for the time spent on scale versus the time spent on core, but that's absolutely an option for you.
Yeah, and Erica is, oh, hey, I didn't even realize Erica was on the call. Hi, Erica, from Use It Strong. They're the ones who we went through for doing our double implementation. I just love them. They're so helpful. Talk about people who can visualize how this could work for you in a way that's better. Like, I can't picture how it could make my life better, but they already know because they've worked with a ton of different people to implement Double. So she mentioned scale is really useful for AI transactions, journal entries, etc., but probably isn't needed for just the review. You can sign them up as a connected client on the regular $10 a month core plan for the review, and then decide whether to go with scale after signing on. And remember, you get 14 days free of using scale, so you can decide, do I need these features for these clients? And then to reiterate, Hope was asking which user level has permission to use the Ask Double feature, and that's all of them, which is gold. Thank you all so much. And then it's the AI transactions that is with scale only.
Exactly.
Christy is giving you guys all the love, saying thank you so much that they're doing some stuff with AI and Double, but this is gonna This is going to be, yeah, thank you very, very, very much. This is gold, really. It absolutely is. And then also Hope is asking people to please connect with her on LinkedIn. And then I'm going to throw these links again in there, which one of them is my affiliate link. One of them is Hope Starter Kit. And one of them is the link to 14 days free on Scale, which with it turns out every client as an option, not just picking one client. So that is great. We are at time, but we always like to stay on a few extra minutes for anybody who didn't get their question answered. I think I got everything from chat. Is there anybody who would like to just raise their hand or come off mute if you have a question that hasn't been answered yet? We're friendly people here, so feel free to just come on off mute.
This is a safe space.
Yeah, definitely. So we've got one question in chat. Is there a bank of sample skills that we can snag? And I am guessing that that question is for Chad, talking about skills in using the scale in Double, or is that the Ask Double?
Yeah, we are working on adding more defaults. We just got like the 4 that show up on the main screen added
what are
last
those
week.
4 again? Can you tell me what or if you want to share your screen, what are the 4 default skills that are currently?
Yeah, let's look at those. All right, so the first one is a quick client review. So it's going to basically flag, where are we with this client? What do I need to review before financials go out the door? This is like from a reviewer's perspective. Diagnostic review is specific to what we just looked at. So proposing for like a new client.
Now they would have to have their QBO file connected to Double in order to do that diagnostic review. That was a question in there.
Yep.
Okay, great.
And then we've got some lighter ones like just create a task, post a journal entry. And then what should I work on next, which kind of prioritizes the, similar to what Hope showed us earlier, like what's coming due this week? What do we need to focus on?
All right, I love that. And then one question that occurred to me in looking at this is, because Ask Double is happening inside Double, and what Hope was showing us is using the MCP to connect your Claude or ChatGPT or whatever you're using to Double, but you're using it in your subscription.
Let me say, so a reason why, guys, I like to use it outside, but I am going to explore inside. But I can pull in data from multiple tools.
That was going to be my question, is how, when you're using it in that one space, can you in the same, and I know the answer to this, but I just want to make sure everybody realizes this. Can you say, cross-reference the stuff from TaxDome that has an MCP and from ClickUp that has an MCP and Double and tell me XYZ?
Right. So we're not able to do that today. Right now, what Double has access to is whatever's in Double and in your client's files. But what Hope showed us, that's the real benefit, because you can pull in from all of those different sources and have that connected system, even though you're working with a bunch of different softwares.
And that goes back to what you were saying earlier, Chad, where you're kind of seeing the future of these tools. They don't have to be all in one. You don't have to do it all in Double or all in QBO or whatever. You can choose the best product for exactly what suits your personality and your way of learning and your way of communicating, and best in class, this, that, and the other. And you can have them all come together in your Claude or ChatGPT or Gemini or Copilot subscription and draw on all of those in the same. And I do agree that, like, as we move into the future, I think we're going to see a lot of our work just happening inside there, saying do this, do that, and rolling it out to the various softwares, the various products that we're using.
Yeah, so a good reminder here again, like Hope mentioned earlier, if you're vetting new software, add the question to your list. Do you have an MCP for whatever that software is? Because it opens up so many doors if that is available.
And there was one thing that you were showing on that screen that I just wanted to you don't have to share the screen again, but I just want to circle back around to this because there were so many questions about it. So when he was using Ask Double, which is the version that is available to all subscription levels of Double, and it's like what Hope was doing, but inside Double. Those default skills that are in there right now, one of them was post a journal entry and it said in parentheses scale only. So if you want to use the agentic capabilities, you want to actually have Claude doing things for you, you do need to have that $50 a month subscription on those individual clients. So the rest of the skills that were in there are available to everyone because you're just querying. You're not actually acting. So I hope that clarifies that. Let's
Exactly.
see. Go ahead.
One other thing, Nancy, like if your community has skills that they want to see built in Double, share that with us because we love the direction and we can spin them out pretty quickly. And yeah,
that's
appreciate
fantastic.
all the feedback.
There are, and you guys are so wonderful with feedback. I mean, that's something that everybody has loved about you since day one. And I was pretty sure that wasn't going to scale as you guys got more and more and more people, but it absolutely has. I'm just kind of stunned at the responsiveness of your team. Now, there are a couple more questions in chat. Sandy's asking, she heard there's a minimum number of clients you have to put on Double to open account. Is that true? How many?
Yeah, so in the past, we used to offer 14-day free trials, but those trials were unguided for the most part. And so we offer a 3-month paid pilot with a minimum of 10 clients. So you can get started with just 10 clients, the equivalent of $100 per month. And then you'll have the support of our customer success team who's going to lead your onboarding call and then continue to be a resource for you rather than going in unguided.
Yeah, and I want to add to that to say you don't actually have to put 10 clients on it. You can pay the $100 and just put 3 clients on it. But so the key is that it's a minimum commitment of $100 a month.
Correct. Yeah.
And if you're not ready to put 10 clients on it, that's okay because $100 a month is still worth it for just a few clients for certain things.
Yeah,
exactly.
So I want to chime in on this because we took advantage of that offer in January, and I don't know how we would have successfully got into Double and made that transition successfully without that 3-month guided kind of support. They were great. We were able to meet with them. I mean, I think my onboarding person, we were meeting like almost every week initially, and then it tapered off to like every 2 weeks, even during the tax season, with just helping, making sure we had things set up right. So I would definitely advise anybody trying to go to Double, like take advantage of that 3-month support.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And or if you are like me and you are not good at visualizing the ways in which this could be used well in your firm, please consider hiring Hughes and Strong. They are members of Ask a CPA, paying members of Ask a CPA. Like they're here because they want to be here. So this is not like a quid pro quo kind of thing. I really just love working with them. They really know what they're doing. And because Jody runs her own bookkeeping firm, she's got some really good ideas of how to use Double for pain points, addressing her pain points, because she actually has pain points in her firm. So my question to them, first I did a diagnostic review with them. They looked at our systems and then recommended what we should implement Double for. And secondly, I've gone back to them numerous times to say, okay, I've implemented X, Y, and Z. What is the next lowest lift feature that will be of the highest value for Double that I can do? And they look at what I've got implemented and they're like, oh, you're not using something or other. And they pick a few things that I'm not using and then they pick the one that's easiest to implement. And I just implement them one at a time. It's been very, very useful to me because unlike Hope, I don't like playing around with this stuff, you guys. I don't enjoy it. It's not my favorite thing. I actually really hate it. I like other people to play around with it and then text me and say, Nancy, look at this, like Hope did. So you can get more guidance if you're interested in that kind of thing by reaching out to Jody or Erica. Let me see. There was another question for people who have different Double profiles, for example, their own firm plus contracting for other firms. Is there a way to connect both Double profiles to one Claude account? And I don't really understand if this question is asking inside Double with the Ask Double, or if it's asking Hope externally in your Claude, if there's a way to do that. I don't know the answer.
Yeah, so I can answer both.
Great.
Within Claude, you're only able to connect one Double account within a particular Claude account.
Okay.
So similar to like if I had multiple Gmail accounts, I can only connect one of those to Claude. I can't include all of my Google profiles.
That makes
And the
sense.
same is going to be true internally in Double as well,
All right.
where it's tied to the practice.
So you could, however, have a Claude personal and a Claude team, or two Claude personals or whatever, and then just switch back and forth between them, because I know that that's easy to do.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. And then I see if there are any other questions here. Who is the contact for Double Help? Chad. Chad is the contact for Double Help. Chad at doublehq.com. He is amazing and he knows everybody there. And you know, Chad is a CPA and worked at a firm, and he also runs his own bookkeeping firm on the side. So he understands how this stuff works, kind of like I was saying about Jody, as a human being who does the things that we do. So, and so Sandy, if you're talking about the Ask a CPA member, that is Jody Strong, Jodie Strong, and Erica Hughes, Erica Hughes is spelled Hughes, Jody and Erica Hughes, and they run a company called Hughes and Strong. Oh, thank you, Jody. I love you too. Oh, and Erica, you're the sweetest too. I'm going through the chat one by one, so I didn't even see those. They're amazing. Well, this has been absolutely incredible. I cannot possibly thank you enough, Chad and Maddie from Double, and absolutely, unquestionably, the amazing Hope Brown. Let us give them a huge hand. Woo! You did an amazing job. My mind is blown.
Thank you, Hope, for showing everybody what's possible.
Yeah, Chad, Maddie, thank you so much for joining, like, and giving us that extra insight. I learned some stuff too for that. So
good.
Appreciate you.
I learned something every time I talk to Chad. Like, no joke. It's
I hope everyone walks out of here excited.
We're super excited. I also learned something every time I talk to you, Hope. So
yeah.
You guys are getting so much love in the chat. Take a quick look at that before you sign off, everybody. So many emojis floating up on the screen and so much love in the chat. Thank you both for being here today. And thank you to all of our members for being here today. This was a really, really, really well attended session, and I hope you got a ton out of it. We will definitely be sharing. I'm going to put those links in here one last time, and I will make sure that I share these links along with the slides when the recording goes up. Thank you all so much for being here. Remember that knowledge is power. So please keep asking questions. We'll see you next time.
Thanks, Nancy.
Thanks.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, Nancy.